And welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to a weekend review reviewing the Premier League action from this week. Starting things off with Palace 1, Liverpool 2, and Palace took the lead in the 57th minute. Mateta from the spot before AU was given a second yellow in the 75th minute. I don't know, I would say it was probably the right decision, but it has caused some controversy. But Salah and Elliott made them punished. GS also had a goal disallowed late on. Liverpool held on to the win. Palace, I think, will feel gutted. Just a bit of an individual error from IU potentially costing them. But for Liverpool, big win. They seem to find a way this season, and that's what teams going for the title do. Moving on then to Wolves 1, Forest 1 at Molineux. And yeah, it was Toffolo in the 14th minute who gave Forest the lead, and Cunha in the 32nd minute who levelled things up again for Wolves. And yeah, I think this was a performance that kind of really showed that Steve Cooper definitely does still have the backing of the Nottingham Forest players and should be given more time to kind of turn around what's been a tough season so far. But he's done a remarkable job so far at that club. Just my opinion. But yeah, Wolves, I think, will probably still be frustrated not to win this one. But moving on into a big day for Chris Wilder, picking up the win over Brentford. Right on first half stoppage time, it was James McAtee who got the win for Sheffield United. And yeah, in the end it was a close game, but there's just that moment of magic from McAtee giving Sheffield United a big win. And yeah, for Brentford that would be a really disappointing result. I don't think they really showed up here. But for Sheffield United, with Wilder back in, giving them some hope and momentum, they could get back on track. So yeah, I think a big win for Sheffield United here, but Brentford very disappointed. But a memorable day for Bournemouth at Old Trafford, beating them 3-0. Solanke in the 5th minute, Billing in the 68th minute, and Simpson in the 5 minutes after that, getting a win for Bournemouth. And yeah, I think Bournemouth deserved it. Manchester United was just a tepid display, just kind of looked like some of the players just didn't care. But for Bournemouth, they were right on it and sealing a win. That will go down in history. I doubted Areola at the start, but boy oh boy is he turning it around. But Ten Hag, serious questions have to be asked for that. Tough few games for Manchester United. They desperately need to turn this round. But moving on then to Brighton 1, Burnley 1 at the Amex. Disappointing day for Brighton, I think it's fair to say, but for Burnley a very good one. And it was Odegaard in the 45th minute who gave Burnley the lead before an equaliser for Brighton in the 76th minute from Adingra who levelled things up. And yeah, Brighton really pushed for the winner, but I think Burnley just about enough to hold on for the draw. Maybe they didn't take their chances when they needed to, Brighton, but for Burnley a big point for them. But moving on into Villa 1, Arsenal 0 at Villa Park. John McGinn in the 7th minute. And yeah, should Arsenal have had a goal in the 90th minute? Havertz ruled off for handball. For me, yeah, bit of a harsh decision, but it is what it is. Mikel Arteta, unsurprisingly, very unhappy with that. But Arsenal kind of competed with them. I think they'll be frustrated not to get anything out of it. But Villa, 15 home wins on the trot now. Pretty remarkable. 2 wins like that on the trot. If they weren't considered serious title contenders before, then they certainly have to be now. But moving on into Luton 1, Man City 2 at Kenilworth Road on Sunday, and it was Elijah Adebayo just before half-time who gave Luton a shock lead, but then it was Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish who made it 2-1. And yeah, City really pushed for the win late on, and eventually of course they got it. And yeah, I think Luton can be proud of themselves because the way they they stayed in it, they had some chances in stoppage time, they really pushed for it. It was impressive stuff. They really are showing that they can compete in the Premier League. But for Man City, hopefully back on track now. But moving on into Fulham 5, West Ham 0. Jimenez, Willian, Adebayo, Harry Wilson and Carlos Vinicius with the goals for Fulham. And yeah, another dominant display from Fulham. That's 2 5-0 victories in the week. No idea where that's come from. They were good before the hand, but it kind of feels like this week they've gone to another bloody level. And yeah, credit to them. That's a huge win for them. They'll be absolutely delighted with that. But for West Ham, serious questions have to be answered. But Fulham, they kind of seem to have turned into prime Real Madrid over the past week. So yeah, all you can say is fair enough to that. But moving on then to Everton 2, Chelsea 0 at Goodison Park. And it was Doucouré and Dobbin with the goals for Everton. And yeah, a big win for Everton this one, and I think it's a deserved win. Chelsea, yeah, they may have had more of the ball, they may have dominated the game, but in the end did they kind of look like scoring? I personally don't think they did, and it was a big win for Everton here. Yeah, the momentum they're getting on the Sean Dyche is pretty incredible. The job he's doing, without that point of deduction, they could be competing for Europe. It's just such impressive stuff. Tottenham defeated Newcastle 4-1 on Sunday in the Premier League. A dominant win for Tottenham. Udogie, Richarlison with 2 and Son from the spot. I thought Richarlison would take the penalty, to be honest, to get his hat-trick, but clearly not. But great to see him on the score sheet. And Joe Linton getting a late consolation goal for Newcastle. But yeah, Newcastle really ravaged by injuries, and you can see that's really starting to affect them in a big way now. But for Spurs, massive win from them. Hopefully that will get them now back on track with Ange in charge, and yeah, could be exactly the result that they need. Before I go, let me preview the Champions League games coming up this week, and start things off with PSV against Arsenal. And Arsenal, of course, already sealed top place in this group. PSV still competing for second against Lens, but it's looking pretty good for them, you'd have to say. But yeah, I think Arsenal, this is a good chance for them to kind of rotate their cast in a way, give some players some rest, which obviously a chance they haven't had to do very recently. So yeah, it will be an interesting one. I still kind of feel like they have enough to get away with a win here, but PSV may have to go for it. The goal, etc, etc. But moving on into Manchester United against Bayern, but this is obviously significantly more important for Manchester United. They need to win this game and hope for a draw at Copenhagen. Galatasaray to really have any chance of going through, or even just the results getting to Europa League, because if they don't even get to Europa League, that will be disastrous. Bayern Munich obviously embarrassed at the weekend too by Frankfurt, so yeah, maybe it's a good time to play them, but Manchester United got embarrassed too. So yeah, I still kind of feel like Bayern will have too much quality. The likes of Kane will get a goal and Bayern will win, so United will crash out. But moving on into Red Star against Man City, and yeah, Man City already comfortably through in top spot, so yeah, kind of for them, like Arsenal, especially with Man City having a Club World Cup coming up, yeah, it's definitely a chance for them to kind of just give some of the fringe players a game, and yeah, seal the group in dominant fashion. I think, yeah, you'd back City's second team to do that against a team like Red Star, to be honest. So yeah, I think they'll get the win. But moving on into Newcastle as they take on Milan at St James's Park, and of course this is a big game for Newcastle. Yeah, third place, if they can get the win over AC Milan, yeah, they'd stand a chance of going through if Dortmund can beat PSG. It's all kind of like, it's out of their hands, like especially like Manchester United. But if they get a draw, that will be enough for Europa League qualification, which I think they would have taken basically being in that group of death. So yeah, they'd impress some people. I think they will get a draw, but I don't know. I could see them crowd roaring them on to a win too. But anyway, guys, that's it really. Thanks so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Let's say for daily football news and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.